All right. Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's Exploring by the Seat of Your Pants and Reach the World event. My name is Joe Grabowski, and I'll be your host for today. So I know the million-dollar question on everybody's mind is what is going on with the connection. And at the moment, I am sorry to have to report that we do not have a live connection from South Georgia yet. We are hopeful that they'll be able to connect. But there's a lot of things that still have to go right in our favor. So just to give you the best update that I have so far, I had spoken with Tim Jacob from Reach the World earlier today, just as they were getting ready to leave the ship. Everything was on schedule. So I haven't heard from him, which means that they have in fact left the ship, hence the no connectivity. And Tim was using something called a BGAN unit. This is something the size of a textbook. You point at a satellite over the equator, and then you cross your fingers and go live. So unfortunately, the site where they are, we weren't able to see it in advance. So we don't know if there are mountains blocking the sight line to the satellites. We don't know if there is weather that's blocking the sight line. And as well, they were doing a little bit of filming in advance. So it could be that the filming still hasn't wrapped up. And that could be why Tim hasn't joined us yet. So we're going to keep our fingers crossed. We're going to be on together in a broadcast for about half an hour, and we'll see if we do see Tim and any other members of the expedition team joining us. So we'll see. We'll keep our fingers crossed. So there's a few things I want to do today. One is I want to share a few really cool images. So many of the classrooms joining us here are from the Reach the World community. A lot are from the Exploring by the Seat of Your Pants community. And I'm sure we've all heard the amazing news that the Endurance was found. Absolutely incredible. It was getting down to the wire. The sea ice was starting to close in. And then the whole team heard the amazing news that it had happened. So I'm going to share a few images here that I have. These may have been viewed by some, but I know a lot of the Exploring by the Seat of Your Pants classrooms, we haven't had a connection since the Endurance has been found. So we'll share some of those images now. And then we're going to, if we don't see Tim, we'll jump into a live video clip as well. I also earlier shared a connection to a playlist, a playlist of live events that we've done since October. So we've been working with the Falklands Maritime Heritage Trust with Reach the World for an amazing series of events, starting in October, meeting members of the expedition all the way through December into January. We started off with a live event in Cape Town as the ship was preparing to depart. And then we have done a ton of live events from the Weddell Sea with crew members ranging from Menson Bound, the lead archaeologist, to John Shears, the expedition leader, and Captain Knowledge, the captain of the Agulhas too. So I'm going to share that link again if anybody wants to dive into some of those playlists. But let's take a look at a few images now from the expedition. So here we go. My screen should come up now, and we should see the first images coming through. So really, this here is an image of really one of the heroes of the expedition. This is the saber-tooth. So there were two of them on board, and they were the workhorses, charged up, hitting the water for 6 hours at a time, sniffing along the bottom through the massive search area to try and find some evidence of the Endurance. And so we got to connect with Chad Bonin a couple times before the expedition, and he told us all about the saber-tooth and what they were able to do. And then he went to France to do some testing where they tested the saber-tooths, and they learned if it would be possible to launch them from the ice camps if they weren't able to do it from the ship, if the ship couldn't get through the ice and reach the sink site of the Endurance, or what they hoped was the sink site of the Endurance. So this time around, they were tethered to the ship. So very important to be able to keep that direct connection, to have that live video coming to the ship, and then have the ability to steer them around a little bit too as they searched on the bottom. And the great part of having two saber-tooths was if something happened to one, the second one could be used in a rescue mission if needed, if necessary. three-dimensional view as the wreck site was scanned. So you can see a little more detail. You can see the rear, the stern here again. You can see some of the cabin structure. You can even see some of the masts here that have gone down. So it's going to be exciting over the next few months as this is crunched. All this data is crunched as it's run through computers, and we start to get to see different pictures, different renderings of the Endurance. So if we move through a few more images here, you can see some of the team here. You can see Menson there on the right sitting down, and then there's John Shears, expedition leader. So I can only imagine what went through their minds when the wreck was discovered. We'll definitely have to do some follow-up live events when they are back, when the expedition has returned to port. But you can see them here pouring over these images. And then, of course, just a few kind of screen grabs here. You can see the life starting to colonize the wooden wreck. So, you know, had the Endurance sunk in warmer waters, shallower waters, wooden wrecks don't last very long. There's all kinds of life, bacteria, worms, and things like that, which make short work of a wooden hull like this. But the really deep, cold waters have preserved the Endurance beautifully. And I think you can even see this might be the rudder here laying down next to the ship, would have been used to steer the Endurance. And you can see how it's become an ecosystem of its own here. All of this life on the hull of the ship, of the vessel. Another view here, I mean, they must have been thrilled to see the ship's wheel standing there. You almost feel like someone could be standing and conning the ship from there. It looks like you can see some portholes and to duck under here into the below decks. Again, another view here where you see the railings intact and you can see all this life starting to colonize. Well, it's been colonizing it for over 100 years now. Absolutely amazing. And then here, a nice shot of the bow here. And it's been mentioned before that there was some damage that you can see here on the bow because it would have been the first to impact the ocean floor after its 3,000 or so meter descent. So it would have taken the brunt of the impact, but I guess it just goes to show how strong this vessel was. This is one of the strongest wooden ice ships ever built for getting through those tough flows and even withstanding that impact, 3,000 meters, a 3-kilometer descent to the bottom of the sea floor in the Weddell Sea. And then that's just kind of the last image I have here to wrap up. So just, you know, that sign, that no entry, looks like a few people standing on the back of the helicopter deck. Perhaps they're waiting for a helicopter to land. You definitely wouldn't want too many members of the crew anywhere near that when something like that was happening. Only those 100% needed to be there. So I'm going to come back from that screen share one more time. I'll check my live feed here. I see classrooms joining us. Let me pop a few of them on camera here so they can give a big wave. I just have to switch my view here quickly. Oops, that didn't work. Let's try that one more time. There it is. There we go. We should be able to see some of our groups waiting patiently for us right now. Hey gang, it's so good to see everybody. We're still keeping our fingers crossed that we're going to see Tim in the next few minutes, but it is starting to get less and less likely. It may be the mountain range. It could be that the temperatures are so cold right now that they couldn't get the unit to fire up. There's a lot of different reasons, and I'm sure we'll learn in the coming days and hours what might have happened. But on the plus side, I do know that they are filming, so we're going to get some great footage from the expedition's, I'm sure, very emotional visit to the boss's gravesite, to Shackleton's gravesite on South Georgia. So what we'll do, what we'll have to do is I will share my screen one more time. I'm going to keep my eye out for them to join us. But again, like I said, it's not 100% likely right now. I'm going to share my screen and play something that was just released recently. This is, we have to thank Little Dot and History Hit for this footage. They did an incredible tour of the Agulhas 2, something that we just couldn't do live because with the connectivity, you kind of had to be in one spot. There was a little bit of movement, but this is right through the ship, top to bottom, right out on the sea ice. I think you're really going to enjoy getting a chance to watch this. I am going to monitor the live feed as well. If I see Tim join in, if I get a message from Tim, we will stop the live video immediately and we will go from there. But for now, please enjoy this. It is just a great, we did host Dan earlier in the expedition. Him and Tim tried pemmican live together. If you don't know what pemmican is, you should look it up. It's something that would have been a staple living out on the sea ice, kind of like a mixture of beef fat and nuts and a few other things. And the general consensus from Tim, from Dan, and from the crew who tried it was not for them. But if you've got nothing else and you're out on the sea ice, I bet it would have tasted pretty darn good then. So let me share this live right now. If you want to stick around, tune in and check it out. If you want to visit our YouTube channel, there's an Endurance22 playlist. You can find something else you might want to check out with your classroom or with your family joining us at home. I know we have people joining us from all over, from Brazil, from Argentina, from all across the UK and Germany and South Africa. So it really is an international audience with us right now. Thank you so much for joining us. It's always worth taking these risks. You never know what's going to happen with technology, with connectivity. Another day we might have gotten lucky, but it looks like we're going to have to take a little tour with History Hits, Dan Snow, and obviously a huge shout out to History Hit and Little Dot for making this video possible. So if you do have to duck out because it's the end of your school day, don't feel bad. Duck out if you have to. We are going to share this now. All right, we'll try that one more time. There it is.
We took an ice core to measure the temperature profile, density profile, and then we take it back to the ship and measure the salinity profile of the ice. And does the ice get colder or warmer as it gets higher out of the water? Colder. Colder? Yeah. So it's colder up here than it is down in the water below? Exactly, exactly. Okay, and how deep is it at the moment, this ice? Because I'm getting a bit nervous. 2.16 meters. 2 meters deep? Yeah. Oh, it's plenty. You can jump. You can jump, yes. No problemo, we'll jump on the ice. Okay, oh, and we'll fell down in a hole. Okay, that would be an idea. Okay, that's where the core is from. Yeah, I just found that one out. Thank you very much, Team Science. See you later on. Folks, come over here on the ship. We're going back onto the vessel now. We're going to get winched onto the ship. We are then going to go on a tour of the ship. We're going to look at some of the ship's facilities, some of the equipment we've got on to do the science, and also do the maritime archaeology. Then we'll go to the back deck where that archaeology is taking place. And then we're going to finish up high on the ship's superstructure, gazing out on this frozen maritime seascape. Okay, hop on the crane. All right, Peterson, take it away. Here we go. That's one way of going onto a ship. So the ice right next to the hull is cracked where the icebreaker is punched into the ice. So rather than just climbing a ladder down the hull, what we tend to do is we use this crane to winch ourselves in this basket on and off. Torek Peterson is the man. He is always making sure that we are safely on and off the ship. And here's the crew waiting to greet us. Hello, team. This is the Endurance 2. It's a state-of-the-art South African icebreaker. The South Africans use it to resupply their base in the Antarctic, and we have chartered it for this expedition into the Weddell Sea. We're almost on deck. Here we go. Welcome aboard the Endurance 2. Thanks so much, boys. Cheers, man. Thank you, Torek. See you in a bit. Right, let's go and look at the forecastle here. Actually, come and quickly check out where the bosun hangs out. This is the most important. He's the most important man. We actually get it all done. The captain, of course, is important, but the bosun is the man making sure that this ship works day to day, everything gets fixed. And in there, in his special area, his workbench, he can do anything. I've seen him perform miracles. We've got the firefighting equipment there, the breathing apparatus. He can fix anything. This ship is totally self-sustaining. Oh, come on, we'll have a quick look. Let's have a quick look. Here we go. This ship is totally self-sustaining once it's at sea. There is no resupply. There is no Amazon deliveries. Everything we are frozen into the ice. So this is the chain. Look, here's the bosun of the Southern Ocean himself. It's the bosun. We're not going to bother you, sir, you're busy, but quickly say hello to everyone on TikTok. Well, tell us your title.
I'm the bosun. I'm the foreman on the deck side. So I'm basically supervising and yeah, we do all the launching.
You do all the hard work.
Yeah,
you make sure everything's working. Okay, here we go. So this is very much the balance of the ship. We've got some chains, got some spare parts. We've got some beautiful shackles. I love a shackle. Look at that. I'm actually a shackle enthusiast. Okay, let's go check out the bows here. Here we go. Reminds me of Shackleton, of course, who we're all here to try and find the ship. Cheers, guys. Thank you very much. Cheers, buddy. Thanks for that. Right, up we go. Let's head up to the bows here. So we've got scientific equipment to measure the depth of ice that we're passing through. And we come up here to the bows where during our trip across the Southern Ocean, which is famously one of the most dangerous, rough stretches of ocean on planet Earth, there were waves crashing across it. It was far too dangerous for any crew to be up here when we were crossing the Southern Ocean. Anchor chain there, big thick anchor chain. We haven't had to use the anchor because rather than anchoring to the seabed, we get stuck in the ice. Now don't forget, look at this. This is the bows. I have been sailing. I've been on powerboats for years and years. And what you usually do on a boat is you try and keep away from the hard stuff. And this one, we just smash through it. When you're up here, it's like you're flying across this landscape and we're just crashing through this sea ice that's getting broken up below by the bows. It's one of the most amazing experiences. So you can actually check it out on other TikToks we've done on this video, so please subscribe. When you're up here, you're breaking across this landscape at night, or when we stop, we just stop and the ice holds in position, but the ice is always moving. The Weddell Sea is a giant cul-de-sac, like an eddy or a whirlpool. The current pushes the ice around, even though it looks solid. We're actually moving now about 1 mile an hour. So we have to keep repositioning ourselves over the seabed where we think Endurance is. Let's keep going. Come on. So we've got spotlights up here. So there's only a few hours of darkness every night, but obviously we have to break through the ice. We're trying to avoid the big, thick icebergs and stay on the ice. It's only about a year old, maybe about 1 meter thick. But let's come down here. This is very interesting. There's the bridge up there. That's where the ship was controlled from. The excellent Captain Knowledge Bengu, who was the first black African ice pilot, first black African icebreaker captain in history, inspirational guy. He's in charge of the ship from up there. And we got down and really like this. This is ours, okay? When we are stuck in the ice, which we are from time to time, we caused a bit of an international incident yesterday by saying we got stuck in the ice on TikTok. And we did manage to free ourselves, but not before various governments had offered to come and rescue us by icebreaker. So I should have made that clear last night before we went to bed that we were free. We use this. This is aviation fuel. It's helicopter fuel. We have 2 helicopters on board. And they lift it up with this crane and they rock it from all the way. They put the crane arm out and they rock the fuel from side to side. So the ship twists like that, it breaks the seal of ice around the hull, which means we can escape and go on searching for Endurance. This comes through here, a bit icy on the deck. It's down to about -5. It's going to be -15 tomorrow, apparently. If you're going to check the hold out, let's go check the hold down here. The ship's hold is where everything is stored, obviously. Including, look at these 2 babies. 2 brand new box fresh skidoos. Lovely, lovely. Can't wait to get these out on the ice. Caning around the ice floes in these, been quite fun. Got 2 of those. How are they going to find Endurance? What they're going to do is they're going to launch underwater vehicles off the back of the ship. Now we will see those underwater vehicles in a few minutes' time on this live stream, but they monitor them from rooms like this. This is the station, as you'll see, from which they monitor the underwater vehicles. The pilot of the underwater vehicles sits there. He can drive them 3,000 meters down on the seabed. He can drive them. Then the operators, the people analyzing the data, sit here. They're looking for any acoustic signature of shipwreck or man-made objects on the seabed. We have also, because we're making a documentary here, we've got our cameras rigged up for 24/7 coverage. We are not going to miss that moment of discovery, folks. History here, I've got you covered. Let's get out of here. Now let's go down and we're going to look. We're going to go down another deck. We're going to look at some of the equipment we brought with us. There's 2 ways of finding this ship. One is launching these drones from the back of this big ship we're on. The other way of finding them is to take helicopters out to the ice, drill holes in the ice and deploy the underwater vehicles through those holes. These are the drills, folks. These are the augers. Check this out. We're now down right in the heart of the ship, the hold. Look at this drill. This is this entire aluminium or aluminum for my North American viewers. This would be lifted by a heavy lift helicopter, a K-Max helicopter, onto the ice. That evil-looking drill that gets going on the ice, drills a massive hole through it, and then we can launch the AUV, the automated autonomous underwater vehicle through that hole. And we do that using this. These are the rigs that will drop that vehicle through the hole. As you can see, there's a winch at the top, and it will we put these on the ice. Look, they're on skis. Look at this. Dragged along the ice. Isn't that cool? Maybe with the skidoos. That would be very cool. Right, that's the hole, folks. Let's go and check out the science, and we'll end up with these autonomous underwater vehicles up through the various layers here. Have a quick look at the sleeping quarters while we're here. Why not? And one thing you need on ship, of course, you can never have enough rope, netting. That's some of the slings for the helicopters. You've got nets there, you've got cables. Basically, every time something breaks in the ship, the crew are like, don't worry about it. And they fix it immediately with the spares and everything they have to hand. Now, in here, there's hundreds of, I don't know, 100 people on board or so. We need lots of food. These are the refrigerated units. They're locked, so people like me can't go and have snacks. But that's what these guys are here. Then we come into the living quarters.
These are crew living quarters. More freezer units there. Some delicious white flour there. We're going to have cake tonight by the looks of it. And we've got some changing room for the crew there. We come back and this is actually the bosun's. You saw that right. This is the bosun's cabin. You can tell them we visited this cabin. And we come along here and we see something unusual you might not be expecting. An elevator, a lift, so people can get heavy goods up and down through the various floors of the ship. And we're going to come out here and we're going to head now to the scientific area, the labs. This is the central staircase that goes up and down the ship here. Come through here. And we're going to look at the so-called moon pool. This is on a ship, this is somewhat unusual. On a ship, it's very unusual to drill massive holes at the bottom of the ship. But we need to drop sonar equipment through this hole to talk to the underwater vehicles. So this ship is designed for science. Here we go. Look at this. Check out this moon pool here. Here we go. This is a ship that is connected with the outside. That's seawater coming through there. We do get some seals coming through. We get sea animals coming through to have a look. That we drop down an acoustic equipment there so it can talk to the underwater vehicles. We're going to talk to Chad later on. We're going to talk to Chad in about 2 minutes. Hey Chad, how's it going? Good, but first of all, we'll meet you out in the rear deck. We're going to have a look at the science labs here. Scientists, as you've seen, are already on the ice, but this is where they hang out. They've got their ice samples here, fascinating stuff. Check this out, they're very, very sad because their ice samples seem to not have stayed in that icy state. I don't know, it's a weird problem. Have you got any ideas? They can send us a message in the comments how they might be able to preserve their ice samples. So we come through all their equipment here, a lot of drilling equipment here, I'll tell you what. And then we've got another lab here, more samples. This is one of their coring tools. Look at that coring tool there. That's a nasty bit of shit. Love it. And this is a little bit more extreme here. That is an ice auger. Proper job that. It goes in the sleds because that's the best way to carry things around on the ice, drive things around the ice. There we go. Let's come through here. Now, it's all getting exciting through here. How's it going, bud? You all right? Okay. We're going on to the rear deck now. Hello, gentlemen. Here we go. Excellent underwater crew here, having their little break. We come through to the rear deck and do a fetch Chad, let him know we're going to chat to him now. Let's come and have a look at the stern here. The stern is, this is the back of the ship. This is very exciting. This is now where all the action is taking place. We have currently got automated underwater vehicle on the bottom of the sea. You can see it is tethered with this orange optic fiber cable. You can see that goes through the buoy. The buoy is the same North America. Through that, you can see it's coming up now. They're winching it back up, so we're on the way back to the surface. So it's very, very exciting. Let's grab a second with Chad, because he's going to tell us about this. This is the Saab Sabertooth. It is the fantastically complicated piece of equipment. It is Chad. Come over here, man. This is made for Chad. How you doing, bud? You all right? Tell us. This is the spare. We've got one down on the seabed. This is the spare. How state of the art is this equipment?
Oh, it's some of the latest and greatest technology. With this, it's completely different than what we're accustomed to. Here, it's more of an AEB/ROV hybrid.
So it can be autonomous or it can be remotely operated.
Correct. That's right. Yeah. So we're using it in a state where we're doing it's both. So we have a fiber optic cable for communication and live feedback up to the workstation, but it's also being ran in autonomous mode. Right. So even though we have the wire, the missions that we're running, that we're doing the search pattern, is in autonomous. So once we load the mission plans, we press the button and it starts doing its own thing. But during the whole time, we're still getting all that communication, getting all that sonar data at the same time.
Okay, let's talk about the sonar data. That's the back to the other side. That's blasting out sound waves.
Yeah, so this is the EdgeTech, the side scan sonar. And what we're it sends out the pulse out to the side. That's why it's called side scan sonar, right? So we're flying at 70 meters altitude on the seabed, and we're able to scan 700 to 800 meters on either side of this. That's Curtis AUV. And what you do here, it's around the front. So because here's the AUV, you're scanning out on both sides. You'll have a blind spot right here.
Oh, it's easy.
Yeah. So what we do is we'll take this is called a multi-beam. It's an RQ sign. Mounted in front. Right. So that fills the gap in between the sonar scans, the side scans. So that way we have, as we're flying, we have full coverage for that scan. 1,600 meters, 1,700, 15 to 1,600 meters on the total swarm.
And these are propellers. This can go in any dimension, like up, down, forward, back.
Correct. Yeah. So yes. Three, sorry, that give you an up and down motion. You have this right here that allows you to propel lateral port and starboard, and you have two on the stern that are your forward and reverse thrust. But with that, when they're all working in tandem, we can control it to where it can be horizontal, vertical. I mean, any angle we want to utilize this AUV, it can be done.
So we've got the side scan sonar here. If you detect a signal that you think looks good, could be interesting, worth exploring more, are there other cameras and bits of equipment that you can place on this vehicle?
That's correct. Yeah. So right now it's in search mode, basically survey mode, with sonars and side scan and multi. So once we find the shipwreck that we're looking for, any targets that we're looking for, then we'll do a complete detailed survey of this, bring it back to the surface, and then we'll change the configuration. We'll take the sonars off, and there's a 4K high resolution camera and a laser scanner that will mount onto the system and go back down and do a very detailed 3D survey.
That's exciting stuff. How many shipwrecks have you found in your career, Tim?
A couple of submarines, quite a few shipwrecks.
And what about working under the ice cap, like under the ice floes like this? Is this a hard place to be talked about?
It is. It's very challenging. This is by far the number one shipwreck and the most challenging shipwreck to find. Yeah, there's challenges that come with it because most AUVs, I mean, this is a buoy system, right? These side scans that are mounted here, this specifically feels for counteracting the weight of the side scan sonar. Weights here, so as you put it on, you're steering out your weight limits. So this is a system. So what happens is, in normal situations, if you get in an emergency, bring it to surface, you're in open water, right? And then you have your radio system that is sending out a signal saying, "Hey, I'm over here, come get me." You can't do that in ice, right? You cannot allow this AUV to come on the surface. It's going to be stuck. So there's other factors, other parts of the mission, emergency missions that we put in for that, for those issues.
Well, we've got the guys working in there, and then women who are operating the vehicle, but also looking at the data that's being sent back in real time.
That's correct. Yeah. So we have myself as a Terry, Robert Donegal, Joe Lee, our operators. And we also have the surveyors who are in there, constantly watching the real-time data on the side scan, the multi-beam, and then we have also all of the sonar, which is more so for it's a safety factor. It's scanning out in front to make sure that we don't fly or hit anything.
There might be a bouncing up there or something.
But we also utilize that just to see, okay, we're coming up on something that's big enough to warrant a signal on this. Now that's not something on the lookout. So then we're really start paying attention to the side scan. If we see something, then we keep going to station, keep boat station. Once they determine the coordinate of where we're at, then we can back up and go quick visual inspection with the fish on camera.
So excited. Now you're bringing the drone, the sibling drone of this one, we'll bring it back to service now. The battery, you want to recharge the battery basically.
Yeah, so what we'll do is we'll recharge the batteries, just double check everything's working fine. They're gonna reconfigure a few missions, load up those missions into the AV, back
Let's get back in there. Good. We're still in a good place in the search box now.
Yes, yeah,
Good.
so what we're doing, we're just trying to just paint the whole area with sonar,
You bet.
find that target.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. Good luck to you and the team. Chad, thank you very much for taking the time. So everyone, that is this wonderful AUV. Its partner, its sibling is coming up out of the water now. Let's just take one last look before we go high on the ship. Let's take another look here. Out of the ice cap, you see we've got a pool of water behind us. What we do is we keep the ship's engines going slowly. You can see some of the energy here. The ship's engines are just kicking that water on, moving water. Because moving water is less likely to freeze. So we keep this pool of water. Now sometimes we see seals here. We have seen a whale. I haven't seen a whale. I'm very upset about this. But if a whale came right now, it would be great for TikTok. Ready? No way. There is a seal way over there. It's all you're not going to see that. Okay, but we got penguins right. The penguins are becoming really up close. Again, we've got pictures and videos of these on the rest of TikTok. So take a look. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Okay, so this is, you can see here the ice. We think it's about, well, it looks a bit thinner here, but maybe 1.5 meters deep. You can see the part in which the ice broke through, already freezing over. It's so cold, the water we made last night, we churned through here, already freezing over. Let's go up to the top of the ship, give Saunders a little bit of breathlessness, who's holding this camera, he's doing really well. We're going to go all the way to the top of the ship, take one last view. Let's go, up here. So interestingly, we've got the forklifts, we've got spare winches here, all spare winches, spare optic fiber cable, forklift truck. You should have seen this when we came across the Southern Ocean, the wave was breaking over this deck, and this was getting like blasted by the wave. Still works though, very impressive. And the long climb begins. Here we go. We got a helicopter deck here, twin hangars. We got a Bell 310 for passengers. We got a K-Max heavy lift helicopter. They come out here on this heated heli deck, and they can take off from here. We got the ship's boats, which we're hoping to go out in the next few days, once we get away from some of this pack ice. And let's keep going up. We've got the lifeboat here, big important, very important safety feature. The entire ship's company can fit in this lifeboat. Let's take a look. So far, the most successful TikTok video we've made in this entire trip has been me talking about how we can climb that lifeboat. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Here we go. We get a view from up here. The entire thing could be released just from pulling that one little cable there. Boom, the whole thing goes, whole ship's company in there. It won't be comfortable, but we might live. We might live for a few more days after the ship sinks, which is very unlikely to do. Let's keep going. Here's you've got a smokestack funnel, if you like, venting all the exhaust from the generators. Thousands of kilowatt generators down below. They actually drive the ship. There isn't a conventional maritime engine, it's generators that propel the ship, making it quite green, which is good. Satellite communications, that's how I'm talking to you now. There's the bridge. We are going all the way up beyond the bridge. So the very height of the vessel. Here we go. This is the bridge wing here. I love standing up here. Because I'm up here, you can see for miles. Now, there's two schools of thought. Some people say it's a desolate, barren, ugly landscape. I think it's beautiful. I think it's incredible, this endless vista of white, of broken ice. Now you can see in some places a little bit of open water left. It's the height of summer now. Doesn't look like it, doesn't feel like it up here with a bit of wind blowing. With wind chill, this temperature is probably down around -20 now. -25, my skin will start to freeze if I stay up here much longer. But you can see there's open water here. So some open water haven't frozen up yet, but mainly it's ice floes, big, huge chunks of sea ice that are slowly fusing together. And by winter, this will all just be one gigantic kind of flow of ice. But luckily, there's still a few paths for us to get through. It's only, you know, it's thick enough we can still make it through this sea ice and go really wherever you want to go in the Weddell Sea, which is great. So we come up here, we hang out up here, we watch it up here for whales, sea life. You can see the scientists down there still doing their thing. Good on those little scientists. We'll keep coming over here. And I like that you can see our little seal over there, our little seal friend. You won't be able to see him from up here, but you get a sense of just how the ice is cracked and broken down here. And that's from, that's as flows come together. Our vessel will have gone through it, caused huge damage, but like I say, it's already freezing back over. You can see little holes where penguins and seals go do their fishing, they do their hunting, and dive through. Our chances of finding Shackleton's ship, well, we've got the right equipment on board, we should have enough time down. The problem is, we are operating in one of those hostile environments on planet Earth. Winter is coming. The temperature is dropping, we're expecting -15 tonight. And that means that the ice conditions could change rapidly. We could just see that ice thickening up. We could see bigger ice flows coming in that the ship is unable to break through. And what we're really keen to avoid is being stuck here for the entire winter. We got stuff we need to be doing back home. So as soon as it looks like there's going to be a problem where the safety of the ship, the safety of the ship's company is going to be compromised, the captain, whose word is law, is going to say, sorry, we're going to abort the search for Shackleton's Endurance. We're going to have to come back another year. So for the moment, the search continues. We're hoping to get, 2 dives a day. Some of the teething problems have been ironed out. We are surveying the seabed, and it's really exciting. Of course, in the meantime, the scientists doing their thing. They are making crucial discoveries about how global warming is affecting this hugely important part of the planet. They're learning more and more about the waters beneath us, about the marine life in those waters, and about the weather that's all around us as well. So thank you, everyone. I hope you enjoyed that TikTok live. Be sure to follow and subscribe and all that kind of stuff. History here, and follow us because we're going to be bringing exciting news about the search for endurance. See you next time.
All right. Well, I want to thank everybody. It looks like well over 100 classrooms or people joining from home decide to stick around to check out that amazing tour of the Agulhas 2. Thank you for taking a chance with us today. It was always going to be a little bit dicey to get that live connection from South Georgia, especially going in sight unseen, not knowing where the mountains are, where the lines of sight were, but it was definitely worth a try. And I, for one, cannot wait to see the footage that comes back from the team, from the expedition visiting Shackleton's grave on South Georgia. I'm sure it's going to be incredibly moving. And, I can only imagine all the different feelings that everybody on board the ship, this international expedition crew, is feeling right now, leading up to the expedition, the excitement, the wonder, are we going to be able to do it? And then, wow, the discovery of the Endurance 3,000 meters below the icy surface of the Weddell Sea. So again, a big shout out to everybody who joined us today. A huge shout out to Reach the World. We have loved collaborating on these amazing live events, and I have a feeling we'll do some more as the weeks come, as we connect with different team members from the science team, learn about what they were finding, what kind of results they got from drilling the ice, what kind of samples were taken. I'm sure we'll hear lots from maybe we'll connect with Chad again and talk about how the saber-tooths performed. From what I can see, it looked like they performed beautifully and they were absolutely successful. And then hopefully we'll connect with folks like Menson and John to hear about the final stages of the expedition. And then, of course, Tim will likely join us with Sealy Shackleton, because I know they've had an absolutely incredible experience aboard the Agulhas 2. So, I see some questions about, will we try to schedule another date? Unfortunately, I do not believe they're staying long in South Georgia. I could be wrong. You never know. I may get a message later, but for now, it looks like we might not be able to try again from South Georgia. But do stay tuned. I know many are following the various newsletters for the organizations like Reach the World, Exploring by the Seat of Your Pants, at Endurance22 on Twitter. And of course, we'll update you as well. Yeah, again, thanks everybody for joining. It's been an absolute blast. I wish today worked out a little bit better, but I'm glad we got to see a little bit of a tour of the Agulhas 2 with Dan Snow. It is such an incredible vessel and a real testament to how polar exploration has changed over the last 100 years. But even with all that comfort, even with all that power, Mother Nature is still stronger. And things came right down to the wire. There was a chance that maybe they'd end up stuck in the ice and overwintering. Thankfully, it didn't come for that. It didn't come to that. The Endurance was found. The footage is going to be incredible as it continues to be rolled out. And I look forward to seeing it all along with the rest of you. So thank you so much, everybody. Have a great long weekend. To all the students who are joining us, a huge shout out, because for many schools in Canada and some in the US, spring break is starting this week. So enjoy your week off, particularly our classrooms in Ontario and other places around Canada. Thanks so much, everybody. We are going to sign off for now.